Remember those days? Oh, so
how
sweet.
cute are they?
New school year and an old problem's coming to light concerning the Pledge of Allegiance. One group is calling for a new type of warning before kids stand and say the pledge. Robert Boston supports the idea. He's the senior policy analyst for Americans United for Separation of Church and State. Robert, welcome to our program. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
My position on this is going to be a little tough argument for you to make, only because you're looking for a standard that applies to every school district. But go ahead and explain your position. Are you saying that teachers should stand before these classrooms and essentially give them Miranda rights, saying you've got the right to remain silent, you don't have to stand and pledge?
Well, that's your kind of creative take on what we're doing, but no. The use of the word warning, I would say, is pejorative. Simply put this information into a student handbook or send it home with information that parents get, letting them know that in 1943, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that students could not be forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance. They have the right to opt out if they want, that this is a constitutional right affirmed by the U.S. Supreme Court. And if it's done right, and if the parents are informed, and if the students are informed, I think it will cut down on schools being sued and unnecessary litigation.
Well, let me talk about that litigation and what you're hearing from schools. I'm thinking, if I'm a second grader, I'm a little confused if I get that warning, or if mom and dad talk to me, or if my teacher talks to me. And so far, the courts have gone against you.
Well, no, they haven't, actually. As I said, in 1943, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that students could not be forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance. It's an old decision.
You made
it's
that
never
point
been
in
overturned.
1943. Let me make this point. Last month in New Mexico, a court ruled against you. Said it should be handled on the local level.
Actually, what happened there is state education officials declined to issue a rule saying that schools had to do this. I think it should be handled at the school level, at the local level. And as I said, I would have them put it in a student handbook or material sent home to parents. I think it's in the best interest of schools to do this. I have 2 children in the public school system myself, and to be honest, every piece of information I can get from the school clarifying the rules and what is expected from my children and their responsibilities and their rights, every piece of information like that that I get helps me do my job in concert with the school to see that my children are educated and they know their rights. You know, last year, or earlier this year, the Supreme Court handed down a major ruling about under what conditions students can be searched in school.
You won one
It's
case.
Useful for parents to have that information and to know what their rights are. Same deal here.
With regard to the court, you did win a case in Florida where a student apparently said, I don't want to do it. And apparently the teacher came back and discriminated against him, according that's his version of the story in the state of Florida. But New Mexico's kind of kicked this down the road, and you say, okay, handle it at the local level. But how many complaints do you get every year?
We don't see a whole lot.
Yeah, like how many?
No, we don't see a whole lot. Maybe 10 to 12, but it doesn't matter how many we get.
10 to 12 in the whole country.
Even if one student's rights are being violated, that is too many. The majority doesn't simply get to run roughshod and say, well, we're going to do what we want regardless of what you think or what you feel. And I also would point this out, too. In 1943, when the Supreme Court issued its ruling in this case, under God wasn't even in the Pledge of Allegiance at that time. It was inserted in 1954. And the people who raised the issue in 1943 were religious. They were Jehovah's Witnesses. And they said, under our religion, we don't pledge allegiance to the state because we believe that puts the state above God.
I got you.
Now, whether you agree with that or not, you need to respect. That's a deeply held religious belief, and I think public schools would do well to respect that right and not belittle it.
Right, but even if you go to the local level, you're still going to have to get a standard in this. I'll give you the final word here, and I've got to run.
Simple standard. 1943, the Supreme Court said you can't be forced to say it. You don't have to say it. You don't have the right to disrupt it, other people saying it, but you don't have to say it. Tell the parents, tell the students. We're solved.
10 to 12 complaints a year. The next time you get one, let us know, okay? We'll bring you back and we'll continue our discussion here. Robert Boston in Washington. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Megan, what's coming up?